Have you ever looked at your credit card bill and felt overwhelmed by the amount of debt you've accumulated? You're not alone. Millions around the globe are facing the same struggle, where the burden of debt is not just a financial problem, but also a source of stress, anxiety, and fear, impacting both mental and financial health. It's like being stuck in a quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. But don't worry. Believe it or not, there are practical ways to quickly get out of debt. The first step to tackling debt is understanding what you owe. It sounds simple, but it's surprising how many of us avoid confronting the reality of our financial situation. The truth is, ignorance is not bliss when it comes to debt. It's the equivalent of trying to navigate through a storm without a compass. So let's start with some basic detective work. You need to know how much you owe, to whom, and at what interest rate. These are the 3 key pieces of information you need to understand your debt fully. Think of it as a puzzle. Each piece of debt is a puzzle piece, and only when you lay all the pieces on the table can you see the full picture. It's not enough to know you have debt. You need to know the ins and outs of each one. Start by making a list of all your debts. Yes, every single one. From credit card balances to student loans, from mortgage to that personal loan you took out, it all counts. Write down how much you owe, the interest rate, and to whom. This exercise may seem daunting, but it's a crucial part of the process. Once you face the reality of your debt, you take the first step towards regaining control. Once you have this information, you can start planning your escape from debt. Now that you know what you owe, it's time to create a budget. Yes, a budget. It might sound intimidating, but it's simply a tool to help you take control of your money. So why is having a budget important? Well, it's like a financial roadmap. It gives you a clear picture of where your money is going, helps you set financial goals, and keeps you on track to achieve them. Without a budget, it's easy to spend more than you earn and fall further into debt. But with a budget, you can align your spending with your priorities and make sure every dollar has a purpose. Let's talk about how to create a budget. First, you'll need to understand your income. This is the money you bring in every month. Next, you'll need to identify your essential expenses. These are things like rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, and transportation. It's crucial to ensure that these needs are met before anything else. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Once you've taken care of your essential expenses, you can allocate the rest of your income towards savings and debt repayment. This is where you can really start to make a difference in your financial situation. Prioritize paying off high-interest debts first, as they can cost you the most over time. But what about those non-essential expenses? The morning lattes, the online subscriptions, the impulse buys. They might seem small, but they can add up. And they can be the difference between staying in debt and breaking free. So take a hard look at your spending habits. If there are areas where you can cut back, do it. Every dollar you save is a dollar you can put towards your debt. Remember, a budget is not about depriving yourself. It's about making informed decisions with your money. It's about understanding the difference between wants and needs. And most importantly, it's about gaining control over your financial future. With a budget in place, you're one step closer to becoming debt-free. So, roll up your sleeves, get to work, and start your journey towards financial freedom. Now, it's time to start paying down your debt. It might seem daunting, but don't worry. With a clear plan and a bit of determination, you can turn that mountain of debt into a molehill. A good starting point is to understand the 2 popular strategies for debt repayment, the snowball method and the avalanche method. The snowball method involves paying off your smallest debts first, regardless of interest rate. This method can be particularly motivating because you get to see debts disappear quickly, which can be a powerful psychological boost. On the other hand, the avalanche method focuses on paying off the highest interest debts first. This strategy can save you more money in the long run, since you're tackling those costly interest rates head-on. However, it might take longer to see a debt completely paid off, which can be a test of your patience. Both methods have their merits, so it's about choosing what works best for you. Some people thrive on the quick wins of the snowball method, while others prefer the long-term savings of the avalanche method. You might even find that a combination of the 2 methods is the best fit for you. Now let's talk about the importance of making payments on time. Late payments can lead to late fees, which are an unnecessary addition to your debt. Plus, they can negatively impact your credit score, making future borrowing more expensive. To avoid this, consider setting up automatic payments or set reminders to ensure you never miss a payment. Remember, paying down your debt is not just about the numbers. It's also about changing your mindset and habits. It's about understanding that every payment, no matter how small, is progress. It's about celebrating each debt you pay off and using that momentum to keep going. So, whether you're chipping away at your debt with the snowball method, tackling it head-on with the avalanche method, or using a mix of the two, always keep in mind, every payment is progress. Remember, every payment you make is a step towards financial freedom. Finally, once you're out of debt, the goal is to stay out. Sounds simple, right? But it's easier said than done. Let's talk about some habits that can make this possible. First, saving for emergencies. Life has a way of throwing curveballs at us. Unexpected medical bills, car repairs, or perhaps a sudden job loss. These can all create financial stress if we're not prepared. That's why it's crucial to build an emergency fund. Aim to save enough to cover 3 to 6 months of living expenses. This buffer will protect you from falling back into debt when unexpected expenses arise. Next, living within your means. It's a basic concept, yet so many of us struggle with it. The idea here is to spend less than you earn. This means resisting the temptation to keep up with the Joneses, cutting back on unnecessary spending, and making smart financial decisions. Whether it's choosing to cook at home instead of eating out, or opting for a used car instead of a new one, small changes can have a big impact on your financial health. And finally, avoiding unnecessary credit card use. Credit cards can be a useful tool when used responsibly, but they can also lead to debt if not managed properly. If you find yourself relying on credit cards to make ends meet, it may be a sign that you're living beyond your means. Instead, use credit cards for planned purchases and always pay off the balance in full each month to avoid interest charges. Remember, staying out of debt is a journey, not a destination. It requires ongoing effort and discipline, but the rewards are well worth it. Imagine the freedom that comes with not owing anyone anything. The peace of mind knowing that you're on solid financial ground. You've worked hard to get out of debt. Now it's time to enjoy the peace of mind that comes with financial freedom.